Standards identified in these activities have been adopted from the content standards of the national organization for each discipline. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. The students in this elementary class are learning about the election process by having a mock election. They divide into political parties and create candidates to run for President and Vice President of the United States. Then the students will run campaigns for their candidates and vote. The teacher integrates Social Studies Standard 10 for early grades D. This standard requires that students identify and practice selected forms of civic discussion and participation consistent with the ideals of citizens in a democratic republic. This activity also fulfills Civics and Government Standard 5 for grades K through 4 as the students learn the roles of a citizen in American democracy.
All right, what we're going to do is, so far you guys have each made a candidate, right, that you are going to try to get to be elected as president. Okay, so you've each made up your own candidate, you have decided the name, you've decided a little bit about their family, and they all have the qualifications you need to be president. Who can tell me what are some things that they have to be president? Okay, Josh? Go ahead, stand up and tell me. You have to be
36 years of age to run for president.
Okay, you have to be at least 35 years of old to run for president. Okay, what else, Jimmy?
To be a U.S. citizen.
Okay. You have to be a U.S. citizen, and how long do you have to have lived in the United States? Tyler?
12 years, or?
A little more. Rachel?
You have to have lived in the United States for 14 years.
For 14 years. So all of your candidates should have those qualifications. Is that right? They all do? They're at least 35. They were born somewhere in the United States, and hopefully they live in the United States. Okay.
Each student has to create a candidate and introduce the candidate through a HyperStudio presentation. The teacher explains her expectations for the presentations, then the students create a rough draft of their presentation on paper. Each student evaluates a partner's draft according to the teacher's rubric and makes suggestions. During this activity, the students provide each other with positive feedback and suggestions for improvement. This learning activity incorporates English Language Arts Standard Number 6, which requires students to apply knowledge of language structure, language conventions, media techniques, figurative language, and genre to create, critique, and discuss print and non-print texts.
Jimmy?
Has detailed information about party and mascot.
Okay, has detailed information about, you're on the third one, but that's okay. Has detailed information, so when you're telling me about your family, you're telling me about your mascot, your issue is detailed. It shouldn't just be one sentence. I should know specifically about your candidate. This is kind of like an advertisement. So if as much information as you could tell us as possible, it's going to get me to know your candidate, and I'm going to want to vote for them. We have to be informed voters. So if you just write on there, I have a dog, I'm going to stop smoking, that doesn't tell me a lot. I want to know how you're going to do it. So the more information, the better. Samantha? Spelling and grammar. And we're going to, you know how to do spell check. Mrs. Rampy and I are going to help you check that. But that should be correct, especially since we're using spell check. And then overall appearance. So when I look at it, does it look really nice? Does it look appealing? Okay? And then you have the same criteria for each card. All right? Go ahead and put your name on there. When we go into the lab today, I'm going to have you take the rubric with you, and so as you're working, you can look at that and see exactly what I'm going to be looking for. Okay? All right, today we're going to start planning our cards, and I'm going to give you a HyperStudio planning sheet, and this planning sheet is going to give you an idea of exactly what you're going to do on each card. So when you go into the lab, you have an idea of what your drawing is going to look like, you know what you're going to write. You don't have to sit in the lab and think about that. It's going to be all done for you before you go in. Okay. On this planning sheet, this box right here, overall appearance of drawing and text. So why don't you read your text?
He lives in Tennessee and has a...
No, you need to listen to his so you can give compliments and suggestions.
They've already read this.
Okay.
He is engaged but not married yet and wants to skateboard.
Okay. Has detailed information about his family. Do you think he has detailed information about his family?
So I don't really have a family.
Well, yeah, but I think you wrote about your fish, wrote you're engaged. What else do you think you could add?
She thought I should add background.
Oh, background to that? Okay. All right, and spelling and grammar. Okay. Now, one compliment. What do you like about his?
draws good skateboards.
Okay, he does draw good pictures. Okay, you might want to label your buttons and then think about the background like she said. And then go on to the next one. Look at your rubric as you go along though, okay? So you know what you're graded on.
The HyperStudio presentations also address English Language Arts Standard Number 4. The students adjust their use of spoken, written, and visual language to communicate effectively with a variety of audiences and for different purposes.
That's okay. Still write down your person, write down the children. Were you married?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you talk about pets at all?
No, I'm not even on yet.
Okay. Okay. But think about what you're drawing over here needs to go with your text. Okay? So if you're talking about your pets, you could add that to your drawing.
Ma'am, I'm going to draw my dog.
Over there. Okay, perfect.
Throughout the activity, the teacher stresses the importance of becoming an informed voter. The students have to look at as many HyperStudio presentations as they can in order to learn about each candidate. This activity further addresses Social Studies Standard 10 for early grades D and Civics and Government Standard 5 for grades K through 4.
You can walk around to any of those computers and look and learn about the different candidates. Okay? You have to become informed voters. So this is kind of like where you're getting your information. Go around, look at the candidates, look at the issues, look at what they're going to talk about, because then later on we're going to vote today and figure out who the president and vice president are in each of the political parties.
The teacher's integration of HyperStudio into the learning activity addresses Technology Performance Indicator number 5 for grades 3 through 5. This standard refers to the use of technology tools for individual and collaborative writing, communication, and publishing activities to create knowledge products for audiences inside and outside the classroom.
On this one it says that on that.
Okay, so you still need a title card, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that was going to be my guess.
Okay, still go to Edit, New Card, and do a title card. And then I'll get them all in order for you. Okay? Do your title card first. Get out your planning sheet so you know what to do.
The students write and deliver persuasive speeches for their candidates as part of the campaign. This integrates Speaking Standard number 16, which requires that students display the ability to use language that clarifies, persuades, and inspires, while respecting the listeners' backgrounds, including their culture, gender, and individual differences.
Hi, my name is Paula McCain and I am running for Vice President. I would like to talk about some environment issues. One, I would really like to have some of the shops put down that has smoke, or I could just have those certain shops get some sort of glass to put around the shop so the smoke wouldn't affect the environment. Two would be the issue of cleaning up the environment and making better homes for the poor and better homes for other people. Now I would like to talk about a complete different issue, smoking.
After the candidates from each party have given their campaign speeches, the students vote to select a president and a vice president. By teaching the students about voting as a form of civic participation, the teacher again integrates Social Studies Standard 10 for early grades D and Civics and Government Standard 5 for grades K through 4.